Hey, man, just win, baby. Al Davis, rest in peace, the former owner of the Oakland Raiders. That was his phrase, just win, baby. And that's basically been the attitude from some of these people is, hey, man, whatever it takes to win. Now, come on, help us rally. We got to take back the Senate. I'm sorry, but that is a fundamental we always accuse the left of fundamentally misunderstanding human nature. You know, the old joke is they have signs at the national parks, don't feed the bears, they'll get used to it, you know? And we accuse the left of not understanding human nature, and then the establishment comes along and immolates the entire base of the party as racist on a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday before the election, and then Wednesday says, "Oh, that was a good race. Come help us in other states." Do you not understand that when people get by their own people, by the people who then say, "Hey, come help us out," they're probably going to be a little less enthusiastic to help you after you just did that to them?
Well, let me ask you this: where is the base? Because I said eviscerate, but they're still there, obviously.
They'll stay home. Look, like I said, most elections are lost long before Election Day. And the people that they card as racist are the ones that they need in October, late September and October, and the first week of November to man phone banks, call people, get them, spread the gospel of your candidates, walk the neighborhoods, knock on doors and say, this is why you should vote for this guy instead of the other guy. They just flamethrowed them. They used a flamethrower on them. And you can't expect these average Americans to take time away from their lives and their families after you just did this to them. It's unbelievably stupid. It is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in politics. And to top it all off, it was to save Thad Cochran. It's staggeringly stupid.
And historically, this has and continues to happen, but we've reached a certain point where, in light of the organizing ability of the Tea Party and what they've done as a grassroots movement, a true grassroots movement, it's been extraordinary. And now we are seeing, even in the light of day, they're going to throw them on the altar. They're going to say, guess what? We love your support that gets us over the hump, and certainly we're going to count on you because there's no place else to go. It's socialism and socialism light, and you got to every election's a choice. And so that's the calculation.
Yes, it's hey, vote for our Republican, our establishment Republican, because he's for food stamps, he's for big welfare, he's for big government. He'll keep the gravy train rolling, and those Tea Parties are racist. At what point do you say, is there any difference between them and the Democrats?
Well, isn't that what's happened in the country, though? Waking up to the fact that, no, there isn't, in the sense of the establishment. And it really, and so as that happens, what do you see coming out of this? And you know where I'm going. And it to me, this wouldn't be a good move because you'd marginalize yourself further if we're speaking in X's and O's.
Third party, right? I know. Look, what we have to do is take over the apparatus. And I know we're impatient, and we all know how looming the problems are for this country, how dire and how close they are to being catastrophic and cataclysmic. But the Tea Party didn't even exist in the first. It's been in 2 election cycles. Let's give it a little more time to take over the rotting carcass of the GOP. Let's give it some more time. I think we discussed this in 2012. I said the Tea Party isn't mature enough to have a real nominee yet for president. By 2016, they will, and it's already shaping up. There'll be 2 or 3 or 4 good, what you would classify, broadly speaking, as Tea Party candidates. So yes, I know it's these guys. The fight now, and there's a couple primaries left, but it's too late this cycle. Is just keep pushing the old GOP guard out and replace them with Tea Party people. But I'm telling you, I think any chance we had of taking the Senate in 2014 was blown up on last Tuesday. I really do. Because the margin of victory is going to be a bunch of Tea Party people in each of those Senate races staying home, not doing all the things leading up to election that need to be done, and then staying home and not voting because it's unbelievable how much, how incredibly stupid what these people did to these, rank and file Tea
Well, it's
Party
disgusting.
people who want to see the government get smaller.
Right.
It's unbelievable.
We understand when it comes from MSNBC. I don't like it. I think it's repugnant, but it's especially disturbing. And
Yes.
it really blows your mind when you sit there and say, okay, well, what's going on? They see the same thing we're seeing as Americans. We see our policies not working. Look, I always say it's not about ours or it's about accountability, but this is a part of accountability. Your vote, your business, buffet, take it or leave it. But if you look at what's going on right now, it doesn't take, and I've got to allow myself to use the expression one last time, Catherine, I'm sorry. It doesn't take a ripping Einstein to figure out that when you have minus 2.9% growth, you have a problem. If you have an economic contraction, you got a problem. When you see ISIS and what it is right now, we have different ways, I'm sure, Seaton. A lot of people have different points of view on foreign policy, but one thing we can agree on is you better have a strategy. Okay?
Yes. Yes.
So,
no.
Go ahead, please.
And we're hurtling towards $18 trillion in debt, and we just had a Republican immolate a Tea Party in general and a candidate specifically by promising Democrats, if they come and vote in the Republican primary, to keep the gravy train rolling on government benefits, which is it's bad from a deficit perspective, although obviously it's Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid that are driving that train. Right. But it's from a principled standpoint. We're supposed to be the party of less of this. Yeah. It's again, it's the establishment taking far more seriously their need to be in power than it is taking the problems of the country seriously.
What is it going to take to move those who are conservative, conservative, but there are a lot of people in this boat, I believe, and Captain Obvious just joined the show. But here it is, Seaton. The idea is there are a lot of people who are very conservative, who see the Tea Party and they like it, but all they hear from both parties now is it's racist, it's extremist. Right. And they're going to their jobs, they're focusing on that stuff, and they say, yeah. And oftentimes, conventional wisdom is sitting there, people talking. They don't want to sound silly, they don't want to sound stupid, they don't want to be extreme. So they're like, oh yeah, I like some of the Tea Party, but the Tea Party's a little radical, it's a little nuts. They repeat what's in 70% of what we have being put out there. So what?
Right. One of the first pieces I wrote for when I got to MRC Media Research Center was the psychiatric polling of the press, where I say, okay, the press spent 6 months saying, George Bush is an idiot, George Bush is an idiot, George Bush is an idiot. Then they poll their audience and say, what do you think of George Bush? Right. I don't know. You spent the last 6 months telling me he's an idiot, so I guess he's an idiot. Likewise on this, and this is another galling aspect of this. For the next decade plus, we're going to have to listen to every leftist on the planet say, the Republican Party in the South says the Tea Party's racist. So of course they're racist. You're right. The only hope now is that people answer one way on the phone when they get polled on what do you think of the Tea Party, because they're afraid to say what they actually think, and then actually go and vote. Tea Party and conservative once they get in the confines of the ballot box of the polling place. That's the only hope, because when even the establishment has done what they've done now to the Tea Party, it makes it really difficult for not for you and me, because we got no problem with it and we do this, for a living and all that. But for the average Joe who just wants to see the government get smaller and go to his job and take care of his family, you're right. It becomes very difficult to defend the Tea Party when even the members of their own party won't do it.
I think if a party was smart, general statement, they would get Seaton Motley, because he's very good at strategery, and we love him.
Thank you. And
Thanks,
what I wouldn't do is hire an orange squirrel to follow around Hillary Clinton.
Green Durham.
That's some powerful messaging right there.
Seton Motley, I love you, brother. Have a great
Talk
Fourth.
to you soon. Thanks, man.
Take care. See you. Green Durham's nothing but truth. We got a lot of Mo on the flip side. AFR Talk.